Fish live in aquatic environments with different salt concentration, such as the freshwater habitats and also the marine habitats, which is the saltwater habitats. Because of these differences, water and ions are moving constantly across the body surfaces of fish through a process called osmosis. If this movement is not properly controlled, fish may experience cellular swelling or dehydration, which can interfere the normal physiological functions. Now, what is osmoregulation? Osmoregulation is the process of maintaining salt and water balance across membranes within the body. The fluids inside and the surrounding cells are composed of water, electrolytes, and non-electrolytes. By maintaining a stable internal environment, osmoregulation is essential for the survival, growth, and also the overall functioning of fish in different aquatic conditions.
Next, let's move on to how do saltwater fish and freshwater fish maintain water and ion balance. For saltwater fish, they are hyperosmotic to seawater, so they will lose water by osmosis to the hyperosmotic seawater. So they gain salts by diffusion and from food. To maintain osmotic balance, they drink seawater to replace the lost water by osmosis and actively excrete the excess salts through their gills. Next, the freshwater fish. Freshwater fishes are hyperosmotic to the environment, so they absorb water from the hyperosmotic freshwater and lose salts by diffusion. And then freshwater fish maintain water and salt balance by excrete the large amount of very dilute urine to remove excess water, and they do not drink water and replace salts actively across their gills and from food.
There are two organs that involve in osmoregulation of fish, which is gills and kidney. Both works differently in freshwater fish and also seawater fish, and they also helped by specialized cells differently. So, first, in freshwater fish, the gills stop the salt to diffuse out across the gill surface. Since the fish will lose a lot of salt, then it will be replaced by an active ion uptake sodium and chloride ion, which happen through ion pumps. In kidney, it functions as for water excretion to maintain osmotic balance. The kidney will produce a large amount of dilute urine to remove excess water. Specialized cells that involve in freshwater fish is B chloride cells, or we call it as ionocytes. Ionocytes have many mitochondria, and chloride cell will use ATP from the mitochondria to pump ion by active transport. Now, let's see how the organs work in seawater fish. The gills of seawater fish actively pump salt out of the body. It have a high sodium and potassium ATPase activity to pump power active salt secretion. The gills also use electrochemical gradients to move ions. The kidney have a reduced or absent glomeruli, which will lead to a very little amount of urine to prevent water loss. And the specialized cells is A chloride cells, which regulate electrical gradients. Sodium and potassium ATPase increase when enter the seawater, as the fish needs a lot of power to excrete salts.
Alright, so now let's look at what happens when a fish is placed in the wrong type of water. First, imagine a freshwater fish being put into saltwater. Because saltwater is much saltier than the fish body, water starts to move out of the fish. This causes the fish to dehydrate, its cells shrink, and its organ becomes stressed. The gills and kidneys try to fix the problem, but they can't remove enough salt, so the fish will not survive for too long. Alright, now let's switch it. If a saltwater fish is placed in the freshwater, the opposite will happen. Water rush into the fish body, causing swelling and too much water inside its cells. The kidneys can get rid of the extra water fast enough, and the fish loses important salts. This can also lead to serious damage and eventually death. So, in both cases, the fish struggles because the water around them is very different from what their bodies are designed for. This whole process happens because of osmosis, water moving where it's not supposed to.
So, how do some fish, like salmon and eels, survive in both freshwater and saltwater? So, for your guys' information, eels and salmons are uri-hyaline animals. So, uri-hyaline animals can switch between the osmoregulatory strategies that are used by freshwater and saltwater fishes. So, uri-hyaline animals survive the radical fluctuation of osmolarity in their surroundings. They will either conform to the challenges or regulate their internal osmolarity within the narrow range, even the external osmolarity changes.
My colleagues have previously mentioned about the osmoregulation. However, I just want to briefly recap about it. Osmoregulation in fish is the process where fish maintains a balanced amount of salts and water in their bodies. And environmental changes like pollution and climate change can disrupt this process. How it happens? Firstly, pollution such as heavy metals, pesticides, and industrial waste can cause damage to fish gills and kidneys. Since gills are important for the ion exchange in fish, any damage will reduce the efficiency of osmoregulation. Secondly, climate change can increase water temperature and alter salinity levels. Sudden changes in temperature or salt concentration force fish to use more energy to maintain internal balance. As a result, fish experiencing physiological stress, reduced growth, weakened immunity, and in extreme cases can cause death. Therefore, it is proven that climate changes can significantly affect fish survival by disrupting their osmoregulation.